A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you back into another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. I'm the aforementioned Ironhead. This over here to my right is the aforementioned Dear Goon. Lots to get into and not much time to do it today. We have an abbreviated show. We'll go about an hour, a little less than an hour. Due to our local coverage here in the State College area of the PIAA sub-regional softball games at Mount Aloysius College. So we have two District 6 sub-regional games today featuring Center County teams. State College will take on McDowell at 3 o'clock, and then at about 5:30 we'll have Belmont taking on Carrick. The State High McDowell game, of course, in the 6A sub-regional, and the Belmont Carrick game in the Quad A sub-regional.
So where's State Aloysius?
Those games for you right up over there, yonder is where that is. 3 o'clock and 5:30. Again, the start times scheduled for those games. Todd and Norm Brown will have the contests for you live here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Also on Thursday, we will have, should not interfere with our program, but we will have the District 6 championship game in the AAA ranks between Bald Eagle area and Phillipsburg Osceola in a battle of Center County squads for the District 6 title. So that's a couple of programming notes out of the way. We have, again, lots to get into. We'll start with just a tight end. Remarkable seasons for both the men's lacrosse and the baseball teams. Men's lacrosse falling in the NCAA semifinals to Cornell, 11-9. The third quarter really was the difference in that one. Penn State just one of those where Cornell got on a roll. I think outscored them, 6-1 in the quarter. And again, they go on and win it by 2 goals. That was the difference. Cornell obviously has a terrific team, went on and won the national title, beating Maryland yesterday in the title match. And so North Carolina winning the women's lacrosse title, and Cornell winning its first ever NCAA men's lacrosse championship. So hats off to Cornell, but hats off to you see what a difference a big-time coach makes. And Jeff Tambroni is obviously a big-time coach. I mean, Penn State all of a sudden is just right there consistently here at the end of the year. And, now you want to hopefully see them take that next step and get at least into the national title game and obviously get a national championship here in the coming years. But
yeah, that was a tough
hats
one.
off to a great season.
It was... You knew Cornell had that kind of firepower, being
for sure,
and they held them in check for a while. But it was only a matter of time before they were gonna break through. And when they did it, and the thing about lacrosse is, I don't know what your background and history of it is. It's I was watching with my wife this weekend, and she had never really watched the sport.
Yeah,
and she was like, "Oh my God, you can get on a run if you get on a run with face-offs."
Yes,
it completely can change the whole aspect of the game of scoring a goal. Boom, you get the ball right back. Boom, score a goal, you get the goal, you get the ball right back on a face-off type of thing. So that is such a big thing. And Cornell took it in the second half. They took it to Penn State a little bit with the face-offs, and they made their shots count. And it just seemed like our goalie, he was so close at times, and their goalie was just playing out of his butt, man. I mean, he was making some saves right there. And, just at the end of the game, did you see when we had the empty net? It just is how, fickle sports is that one of our guys, it was a non-goalie, jumps in the goal, trying to box the shot. And what is a lacrosse stick? 2 inches thick? And it hit the shaft of his stick. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Just an amazing game. if anybody who's never watched lacrosse, watch lacrosse next time you have a chance. It is a very, very impressive sport. I've always said it blends all the sports in together with the hitting of football and hockey, the pick plays like basketball, the one-on-one, the moves on type basketball. But I'll tell you what, Jeff, some of our goals our guys were scoring, that one behind the back bounce shot in front of the net was, and people are like, oh, do you think he meant to do that? I said, absolutely he meant to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that the speed he put on that ball on a reverse shot into the ground and bounce up past the goalie was very impressive. Very, very impressive. So that was tough. And then you back that up. Obviously, you're going to get into the baseball thing.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I really thought Penn State might have the advantage against Nebraska, just with Nebraska having to play earlier that day. Again, the game got postponed from Friday. What is a little confusing to me is how did Nebraska have the season it did with the pitching that team has? I'm listening. I was back and forth between watching and listening. I had to get some things done, so I'm listening to the Penn State Sports Network and Brian Tripp, and Tripp's talking about as they got into the. I'm trying to think. This would have been in the 6th inning. He's like, this is exactly what Nebraska wanted to have set up with its pitching staff, and it's going to be a tough road for Penn State. And he was absolutely right. It was a road that they could not get past. But I'm thinking to myself, well, you just knocked off the number 1 seed earlier today. It wasn't like they were intentionally saving. I know they did get a terrific start in that game. I watched a little bit of the first probably 4 innings of that Nebraska-Oregon game in the morning on Saturday. So they did get a terrific start, and that obviously helped them line up. But then you turn around and you look at what they did in shutting out UCLA on Sunday. I'm like, if this pitching staff, now I haven't followed it closely enough. Maybe there were some injuries during the season or something. I'm like, I don't understand how this team didn't steamroll everybody in the Big Ten throughout the course of the season. But it's the second year. They've won, I think, 3 Big Ten titles now, Nebraska baseball has, but back-to-back titles last season and this, and both with, I think you would call them unexpected runs. Like they were not, top 6 seeds in either case. So hats off to them. They obviously know what they're doing to set things up here for the postseason. Big Ten does end up getting 4 teams in. Thank you, dear West Coast teams, for coming into the Big Ten, because you have Nebraska and then you have UCLA, Oregon, and USC as the 3 at-large bids into the NCAA tournament here in baseball from the Big Ten. So, but Penn State took a 3-2 lead in that game, and then Nebraska scored the final 4 runs. And you did see Penn State just throughout the season, and even in that game, I mean, they just were not an easy out, and they keep battling. And, we talked about it. Paxton Kling obviously was a difference maker, getting key transfer portal guys, right? And this is across the board in all of the sports. And, Paxton Kling was certainly that for Penn State baseball this year. The former LSU standout, just, man, I was the guy that made it happen for Penn State. Now, you have the Jakonski brothers, just had sensational seasons, both. Again, all throughout, some very good performances, but this is the era we're in. And again, I don't think it's a recipe, certainly for long-term success, to just be, hey, we're just going to go hit the transfer portal and get a bunch of great guys in. But man, if you're smart about it, you're selective about it, and you find that right guy or two, and again, in a short term, there maybe a year where, we need to get 5 guys in, the right fit, fantastic. But I think generally speaking, you're looking at the portal as a way to maybe finish up a project that you have.
Yeah, what you're saying,
trying to make a title run.
If you're talking we'll talk in baseball standards right there. Like, maybe Coach Camino knows he needs pitching next year. They've been out looking for it for 2 years, and they haven't gotten the signings they thought they were going to get. So what do? Go hit the transfer portal. I mean, there's honest God question for you, Jeff. What would you rather recruit? A high school kid? We'll talk football now. Let's bring it to the football transfer portal now. Would you rather recruit a kid who has proven himself on not a lower level, what I'm going to call a MAC or a AAC school, a smaller school, but it is. Do you want somebody from those type of divisions, like, to take and put on your team, or do you want a high school recruit? I mean, that's the decision these coaches are going to have to make, right? I mean, like I have said for a couple of years now, my personal opinion is, the hardest thing to do in football is to recruit a high school offensive lineman, because you just do not know.
Yep.
I mean, there are more busts at the offensive line position, in my opinion, than there are at other positions. I mean, do you agree with that? As in the offensive line is,
I do. Yeah.
Case in point is a guy like myself. I didn't play against guys my size, so I literally came to Penn State having been the biggest, fastest, and strongest guy on the field at every game I ever played football in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there I am, and I go to Penn State, and all of a sudden now I'm going against guys who are my size, my strength, and my height, and my weight, and my speed. So it was like, what am I doing now? So I had to learn how to play football again. But there are so many guys who don't know or can't learn how to play against guys their own size or bigger than them. And that is a huge thing when it comes to high school recruiting. We get a 2A high school kid from Pennsylvania, and he's been playing against kids who are 184 pounds, and he's 290.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? So there is that little hesitancy, in my opinion, to recruit the smaller school guys in high school, where you get a guy, you'd say that kid goes to Valtech, Maryland, Rutgers, something like that, and does very, very well. And then, then they're in the portal, and then you go after them then when they're proven. I think that's a way that some coaches can go. My personal opinion is I would rather go that way with the college offensive line recruiting. But I don't know. Troutwine's doing a pretty good damn job of it on his own right now, of picking guys and then the right guys at that.
Yep.
I got to give I've been hearing a lot of recruiting stories and this and that, and I have some friends whose kids are in it and stuff like that. James and his staff do an unbelievable job with this recruiting thing. I mean, I heard over this weekend, I heard from two different people, they couldn't be different people with their kids or somebody they know were getting recruited, both with very, very high regards and holding Penn State in very high esteem with how they hang for their kids, how they answer their questions and stuff like that. So, for people out there who like that stuff, just put that in your pipe and enjoy that a little bit.
Well, I do think there is a lot to be said for the culture you create. I think James Franklin was very intentional with it, because one of the things that will happen, and I think you're going to see it from time to time in this day and age of the NIL stuff, the transfer portal, everything going on. Players are going to talk as they always have. When you go on the recruiting visits, right, you're getting told one thing by the coaches, but then it's when you get with the players that are on the team, it's all right. What are these coaches really like? What's the university really like? What are the things that I can look to do if I come here? Well, if you're promising the moon and not delivering, right? These guys, it gets around. It gets around quickly.
Sure.
And
you'd be surprised how fast it gets around.
And I think there is a lot to be said for, the old famous sales pitch. You want to always under promise and over deliver. Like that is what you want to do. Hey, we're going to do our best. We're going to try to help you out. But we can't guarantee much more than an opportunity.
Yep.
Again, I don't even the NIL stuff in terms of who says what to whom. Yep. I still, that stuff is
can you imagine that line that goes on there? And there are coaches in this country and there are recruiters in this country who lie their what's off to get kids here, this and that. Could you imagine what those same people are saying when it comes to money? Oh, we'll get that for you. We'll get that for you. That in no way, shape, or form is an offer. Somebody says, "We'll get that. We got that. You're good. We'll get that for you," type of thing. That's as good as saying, "Hey, you're going to be a 4-year starter here at Penn State when you sign that by the dotted line." It's not true.
But listen, I think at this point, with James Franklin's track record,
Yep.
you now have a program that, it hasn't climbed to the mountaintop yet under James Franklin, but it's done everything but at this point. And so I think if you're looking, hey, man, we want to have a program that has relative success and man, I can go and at least be in contention for a national title, Penn State checkmark.
Yep.
World-class university with all kinds of connections. If you are a graduate, all of that, well, that's a big check mark, and that's not a bad place to start if you're James Franklin. But at this point, I think you have also a tremendous track record of developing talent, putting talent into the NFL, but also a very good track record of guys that didn't quite have NFL talent going out and having success in life. And in some cases in football, not in the NFL, maybe in other professional leagues, maybe in coaching, maybe, high school coaching, college coaching, high school, whatever.
Yep.
And in other cases, having nothing to do with football, man, I'm using the degree I got here and I'm putting it to good use. And you're seeing a lot of guys go on after their playing careers end here and having success again in whatever endeavor of life. Well, that I still do think goes a long way for a family and a recruit. Now, are there players and families that, man, I just want to know what the check is going to be now? Sure, but I really do think that is, I think it gets overblown because while those people do exist, and listen, in most cases, they exist because the family is in desperate times, right? Like I can understand, man, if you have nothing and you're like, I'm hearing these stories about guys getting millions of dollars just for signing, and my kid's really good. Well, yeah, I get it. You want the millions of dollars right up front. Hopefully you have some people talking to them about, hey, yep, that is nice. But what is also nice is setting yourself up for long-term sustained success. And, if you can get $500,000 here for the short term and you look at the overall, hey, look at the way this program develops talent, look at the opportunities you have if you do get injured or it doesn't work out for any variety of reasons in football, you have a pretty nice situation to fall back on. So I do think most people are looking at the overall picture. And I think Penn State, for all of those reasons, is very favorable when you start stacking up. All right, what are the opportunities, advantages of coming to Penn State? You look at the fan support, you look at the alumni support. So that we talk about. Again,
a more mature kid. Yeah, a more mature kid is going to look at that and understand that. A kid who's less mature, he's only worried about material things. That's the guy you got to worry about. So I'll go back to when I was being recruited to what I'm hearing now, and that is that usually, coaches, a recruit will ask his recruiter, aka the guy hosting him on his visit, and Joe's thing was always tell them the truth. If you have an issue with something, tell them.
Yeah.
You don't need to BS them. So I believe that James and his staff are the same way. And if there are issues in the staff and in the process of being recruited, and again, football and then recruiting is a lot of smoke being blown up butts and stuff like that. Oh, you're the greatest player in the history of the world. No, a player have a fair shot here. That's all. We're going to tell you that. You have somebody telling you you're going to be a 4-year starter when you're a senior in high school. That's a lie. That is an absolute purebred lie. So James and Joe were the same way in regards of, don't lie to these recruits. When the recruits are here, tell them the truth. If you have an issue with something, tell them. Or if you feel there's something great, answer their questions. There's no reason to lie. Don't hide from anything. And I appreciated that about Joe. When we would have recruits, he would tell us, be honest with them, be up straight with them. I mean, these guys are going to be your teammates here soon, and that is carried down to the James Franklin era here. Again, I'm just going back to what I was told this weekend from two different people, and that was how first class and everything has been about being recruited by Penn State.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'm guessing it's the same way with Franklin here. I will tell you that in the Cale Sanderson era with wrestling,
Yep.
It does work the other way too, where the coaches may be seeing one thing, and man, that this kid comes across as impressive, and this is where, going back to your maturity part, if the kids on the team that are already on the roster bring the kid in, and you're seeing some warning signs, like you want your kids to be able to go to the coach and say, listen, I know this kid may be talented. He may be the next great thing as far as his talent at quarterback or at wide receiver. But, man, like, I don't know that he really has that team first mentality or whatever it may be. Again, maybe you're seeing some things.
Story for you.
Yep.
Will not drop names. No names need to be dropped. It was one of the top ranked entry. Came here on a visit and had a horrible time with our players. Our players hated him. He was an arrogant little punk who was talking a lot of crap over the weekend. And our players, God bless them, Joe asked, how is he? And they said, he's not one of us. We don't, there's no stories need to be told, what was said, what was done. But they said, Joe, he's not one of us. And this is the top player in the country. One of the top players.
Yeah.
And Joe pulled a scholarship because his guys said to him, he's not with us. He's not one of us. He may have blown smoke up the coaches' butts and this and that. And then you're not going to fool guys who are 2 or 3 years older than you, and then acting the way he was acting and they having those guys acting. But I always love and respect Joe for pulling his scholarship because it was a huge recruit and he didn't come here. And that was a good thing because he was not a good fit for Penn State.
Yeah.
And I always love that story. Then again, no names.
Was it?
Yep.
Just kidding.
Yep.
Couple of other notes. Just want to make sure we get to. Again, we're going off a little before 3 today, so that we can get to our.
We're going old school hours here.
Yes, sub-regional high school softball action today. State College against McDowell at 3, and then at 5:30 or thereabouts, it'll be Belfont against Carrick. We will have live coverage with Todd and Norm Brown, providing the coverage of those games this afternoon. And then Pirates baseball rolls your way tonight at 9:15 airtime with the Buccos at the Diamondbacks. Wanted to throw out a huge congratulations to the State College boys track and field team, the Little Lions, capturing the PIAA 6A state championship in Shippensburg over the weekend. Really special stuff. That is obviously a big deal. State champion in any sport at any time, that's a big deal. Jesse Myers winning the gold in the 200. Nathan Haas won the javelin, and both finished 4th in another event. Just a terrific all-around performance by the State College boys track and field team, and do want to acknowledge that remarkable run for State College. And I'm pulling up the story we had because I do want to give credit to all of the individuals for State College. They finished with 53 points. Again, Jason Myers and Jesse Myers and Nathan Haas won individual titles and took 4th. Myers won gold in the 200. Haas won his title in the javelin, also placed 4th in the discus. And Adam Bell was the other individual gold medalist for State College. He won the pole vault. Isaac Opperman took 3rd in the 3,200 meters. And the 3,200-meter relay team finished in 5th place, and Landon Bassett also with a 6th place medal in the long jump for State College. So, again, that is special stuff. Congratulations. No, not
very good there.
Not by a long shot. First one in four or 5 years, though, for State College. So, congratulations to the Little Lions. Also, we talked about Penn State baseball and Penn State men's lacrosse. We talked about it last week, but this really was one of those banner years when it comes to Penn State athletics. And you just look at the overall accomplishments, the overall records. And again, I would say the general trajectory of most of the teams. I think men's lacrosse now is kind of established itself as you're expecting it now to be a perennial contender. I think Penn State baseball is still on the rise. We're very early still here in the Mike Gambino era. That is looking like an era that may stand out from all of the others in Penn State baseball history. Again, we're very early, but the recruiting continues to be very, very good. The performance this year was terrific. Again, a great run at the Big Ten tournament, and the Nittany Lions just again feel like they are coming. I think the softball program is on the rise, and if they can keep healthy, their pitching next year, the hitting was there this year. If they can get everybody back in and healthy with that pitching staff, I think Penn State's going to be right in the mix there. The men's soccer team is kind of in rebuilding mode, but it's coming. I'm just telling you that program
and then the facilities.
Yep. The women's soccer program is there. They're a perennial contender as it is. Obviously, wrestling is wrestling. I think the basketball programs are going to be what people are going to keep an eye on here in the upcoming season and really the next few years. I think Mike Rhodes is the right coach, and I think he's going to get it there. But it's going to take a little work.
I'm not worried about that when work comes in and when Mike Rhodes is in question.
Right there with you.
He's a dog.
I think the hockey program is now where it's going to be a perennial contender lacrosse as well. Yeah, I think women's lacrosse, I think this hire is going to reverberate for years to come in terms of what it means for the,
get back to how big of a hire that was.
Well, obviously you got to see how it plays out, but I think in terms of it automatically, I think makes Penn State a school that any top lacrosse player says, I want to go at least talk, listen, see what's happening there. And again, I think very quickly they could take that next step. As a program, I think the men's gymnastics program obviously has been a perennial contender for a long time. Both volleyball programs are on very, 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 very good footing. Women's program about as good a footing as you could possibly be on. So, and again, some other sports are also on the rise. I think the Penn State track and field program is doing some really good things, and I think the sprinter component is starting to become a big deal when you start talking about the recruiting and the future of that program as well. We're going to take a break here, and we will be back. One more segment as, again, we'll wrap things up a little before 3 this afternoon. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7.
May means warmer weather, the official start of the summer season, and the month that we want to see ya in a Kia more than ever at Lion Country Kia.
Wanna see ya in a Kia.
Hurry into Lion Country Kia now and choose from 79 new Kias on the lot. Just in time for family vacations, check out the refreshed 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. Its new SUV-inspired styling seats up to 8. Lion Country Kia has the 2025 Carnival and Carnival Hybrid with interest rates as low as 3.9% for 48 months through Kia Motor Finance. There's 4 gas models available and 8 hybrids available with up to a 33 combined MPG. Be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too at Lion Country Kia. And remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Make May the month that we see ya in a Kia. From Lion Country Kia, 1334 Dravilla Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
Quaker Steak and Lube again. A reminder this afternoon at 3 o'clock. We'll have live coverage of State College softball against McDowell in the PIAA sub-regional action. That is in the 6A tournament. And then Bellefonte and Carrick will square off at 5:30. We'll have live coverage of that game as well in the Quad A softball tournament this afternoon here on Sports Radio 98.7. The Fox. Dear Goon.
Hold on. Where's Carrick? I never heard of that school.
Pittsburgh.
Carrick.
The big news over the weekend. The Pittsburgh Pirates, Dear Goon, scored 5 runs or more
In a game?
3 times, Goon, in a 4. Now, they got shut out last night. They're back to being the Pirates we've come to expect, but 3 times in a 4-game series,
Massive.
the Pirates scored 5 runs or more. They scored 6.
All right, let's go back to this.
Amazing stuff.
I don't know if I've ever seen a ball hit as hard as O'Neal Cruz did the other day.
It was pretty hard.
123 miles an hour exit velocity, fastest ever in StatCast history.
Now, see,
how long?
You had to exaggerate. It wasn't
122.9.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't 123. That would be ridiculous.
I got you. I understand. Good point. But
yeah,
how long has StatCast been around?
About a decade. About 10 years.
I don't care if it's the day that ball was smoked.
It got out in a hurry. It got into the river That is about as quick as you're going to see a baseball leave a park. That is for sure.
Oh my! You're exactly right. That is as fast as we'll ever see a ball leave a park. Now we've seen some blasts from back in the day, Willie Stargell and Dave Kingman and Mike Schmidt back in the day, but whoo, that ball was absolutely smoked.
Yep. Now we have that going for us. We have Paul Skeens going for us.
Oh, I heard him trade in the
and that's about
future Philadelphia Philly. He said he likes the tax situation in Pennsylvania. He wants to keep it standard deductions and stuff, so he's going to stay in the state of Pennsylvania.
Can I just make a quick point here too, as to why I think that the NFL just understands the marketing game much better than other professional sports. So what do we talk about when we talk about the NFL and the games? And we're not happy about it, but they encroach on everything. And there was a lot of discussion on Fox Sports over the weekend on the NFL's takeover of Christmas. It's like, well, that used to be the NBA's day.
I had no problem.
And while the NBA obviously will still have games there, it's not the NBA's day anymore. The NFL decided, no, you know what? We can have this holiday for us too. Obviously, Thanksgiving is football in America. So yesterday, why does Major League Baseball not have more games throughout the day? The Phillies did not play yesterday. The Pittsburgh Pirates played late at night. Now I get it. They're out in Arizona, but why not have that as a late afternoon game at the very least and try to, hey, let's associate baseball, which I did as a kiddo, baseball, Memorial Day, went together.
4th.
We talked about the lacrosse. Well, really, Major League Baseball is going to cede to NCAA men's lacrosse the day. Now, that's not what's happening. I understand, but it's just you have a day where Americans are off.
You could have
if you
3 national games Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Well, they had those series. What was it last weekend? Right, where it was like rivalry. Why would you not do that on Memorial Day and try to capitalize and build that up as a marquee event, albeit pretty early in the season, but a marquee event for your sport? Hey, come watch the Yankees and the Mets, followed by the Phillies and the Pirates, followed by or whatever it would be. But why not do some of that to promote your sport on a weekend where, again, a lot of Americans are looking for something to do. Now, the Indianapolis 500 gets its
the last time we watched
action all the way through. I don't know. I went to it a few years ago, and so that year I watched it all the way through.
I heard that will change your view of it.
But on TV, I don't watch it. I don't know that I've ever. I mean, in fact, I can all but guarantee you I never sat down and just watch it start to finish. It's like I might have it on the background, might check in here and there. It does not help while we're on it on marketing. And I get that streaming is the future and it's the way everybody's going. One of the things, and it just kind of hit me over the weekend a little bit. And again, I'm not a huge racing fan, so it's not like, but it just hit me. Part of why I really do dislike the streaming part of sports, and it is the inability to click from event to event. Now, I will do it not just with sports. I will find all right, 3 things that I'm looking forward to watching tonight simultaneously. And it's like, all right, flip over here, there. What's the score there? Oh, there's a big at bat coming up. Cool. Oh, flip over here. Wanted to see, who's being voted off that particular show. Boom. Switch over here. Wanted to see what the latest news was or the comments by this person there, whatever it may be. But it is that ability to click and pretty much instantaneously. All right. Oh, they're in commercial. Boom, over here. Boom, over there. You don't have that with streaming. And so you're either, and again, if it's a Penn State game or it's a Steelers game, all right, that's one thing. if it's a football game that I might otherwise be checking out, I'm just telling you, all right, well, that one I can't watch tonight, so I'll just keep clicking and get score updates, and now I'll watch the other two. Now, they obviously have numbers backing up that the streaming is cost-effective in a big way for them. I get it as far as it goes, but I do think that they're losing those of us that like to pretty consistently click around and see what else is on as we go to commercials. And sometimes, I'll get caught up in something else. All right, I'll come back to that in a little while. I'm just telling you, the streaming, it's like you're either kind of all in or not. Now, I realize we're getting to the era where people will have, and I've seen the setups where it's like in their basement, they have TVs set up over here, a couple of computers over there. They're watching, especially with the NCAA wrestling and March Madness. And so I understand it. People make the adjustments, and you can still follow it with multiple sources. But for those of us that are old school, like, I just want the one item that I'm watching on, but I want to be able to flip around within that item. Yeah, you're making it.
Yeah, you got to move the input button over for
pretty darn difficult.
Yeah, jump around.
Pretty darn difficult.
I'm with you. I can understand that, but that's a good idea.
Right
the Memorial Day. Why not? Why not have MLB take it over? Why not have a Saturday afternoon game, a Saturday night game, same thing on Sunday? There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Are you worried about the NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs? Those days are long gone of being worried about those two sports if you're baseball. Or it could be, who's in charge of, who has baseball. ESPN has one game a week. They're not going to blow that up. They're not going to try and contain, do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a great question, Ironhead. Why they never even thought about doing that or anything you're right. Now I have a question with the NFL on Christmas. Now I think that really depends on what day of the week Christmas is. If it's Monday, I think they get away with it. Like this past year, because Christmas was on a Wednesday. That was the issue of why they never had a Wednesday game ever before. And then they dropped 3 on that day. I think if it's a Thursday, I think it's okay. But I'm just going back to what wasn't the Steelers part of it? They played Saturday, and then they played on Christmas Day.
Yeah, listen,
4 days rest
the NFL, but I'm not talking about whether or not it's the right thing to do. I'm talking about from a marketing standpoint. It's like, all right, we're going to take over the holiday. Now, baseball doesn't have the. It's not an issue for them to schedule. When it's going to be every year. I just find it bizarre, really, that they don't try to capitalize on it and feature it like, hey, Memorial Day is our day, baby.
Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Dodgers, Giants.
Yeah, just more, at least get all of your teams playing. And I would try to get as many of them in the afternoon, maybe have a featured night game then. But I don't know.
So
it feels like they just purposely get themselves lost in the shuffle of other Memorial Day activities.
Yeah.
Just weird.
You have the whole weekend. You can have every team have a national game. You have 3, you have a triple header Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah. A couple of other just football related notes from over the weekend. We'll start with the good, and that was Saquon Barkley giving up his seat, his first class seat, reportedly to a veteran because he's Saquon, and so he goes back and the guy is just a genuinely good dude. Mm-hmm. And he also just comes across as a dude. Obviously, he has superstar status, and there are some things there that you can't do the way common dudes. I think if he had his druthers, he actually would. I really do. I think he'd just soon be the common dude that does the everyday stuff that everybody else does. Now, you get to a certain point of, fame and riches, and some of that stuff is not doable. You just have to make some adjustments.
How many athletes do you know or remember that are It doesn't matter race, sex, creed, whatever. They're loved by everybody. You know what I mean? Whites, blacks, whatever. Men or women, old or young. I mean, there's not a group that doesn't can't relate with Saquon.
Yeah,
it is really, really amazing how is it transitional, transformational?
What
kind of
the only two that I think are even you could compare him to would be LeBron James and Albert Bell, two of the most well-respected.
I was going to say Michael, obviously, being that guy who can everybody likes. There's not a group of haters because there's a group of people out there who hate LeBron. So, you know what I mean? So
I would argue with some good reason.
Yeah,
I'm with
you. But Jordan was like that, where he just related to everybody. Everybody liked him. And I think this way Saquon is getting to that point.
Yeah,
I
don't know that people thought Saquon though. Yes, people liked Michael. I don't know that they necessarily thought this is just a great dude.
Oh.
Great competitor, sure.
But we also
I don't
know a lot less about Michael than the players nowadays.
True. I think he was liked. I don't know. But there weren't a lot of stories about his generosity and and I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying that wasn't the angle. It's just the guy is great, and that was kind of we like him. He's great. We like him. Saquon, the number of things he does out in the community, and just being a genuinely good person. It's it makes it easy to be a fan of his.
You can say Eagles, Jeff. You can say Eagles.
Horrible news over the weekend with Penn State receiver Julian Fleming. If you missed this story, Friday night he's driving an ATV, according to the state police report, and the ATV he is driving hits a deer. He suffers serious injuries, but his girlfriend, who is a passenger in the ATV, is killed in this accident. The investigation is continuing. This was a little before 8:15 on Friday night in Columbia Township, and Fleming was taken to Guthrie Troy Community Hospital while his girlfriend, Alyssa Boyd, 23 years old, pronounced dead at the scene. Throw a prayer Julian's way. Sympathy, obviously, to the families of both. It's just an awful, awful situation. I'm sure we'll get more details at a later time, but boy, heart just goes out to everybody involved. It's one of those stories that you never want to know. You never want to hear, see about, learn about, and just
horribly sad.
And especially, it was such an exciting time for the two of them. She was very much part of his journey, was posting things about, excited to see what he does with the next step in his life and career. He had signed with the Packers, a free agent deal, but, right after college is an exciting time, regardless of what you're doing. It's like, man, you're trying to see, all right, what does the world have for me? What do I have for the world? And to have something like that happen right after a great moment in your life, it just heartbreaking is not a strong enough term.
I was at my in-laws' house this weekend, and that's up in the mountains, up in the hills in Allegheny National Forest, and ATVs. You hear them all day, day, all night.
Yeah.
My brother-in-laws, they'll take the ATV out, take their kids out for rides. Obviously not going fast or slow, but I'm just like, that's not really me. Obviously with the spine injuries now, but I'm not going down that route. But it's just horrible. I heard about it Saturday morning early. I got a phone call and said, "Hey," I was like, "Oh my God!" It was just horrible. No idea what happened, how it happened. Just Sad time, man.
Yeah.
Just, again, they're both 23 years old. She just graduated from Alabama last year. He just graduated from Ohio State, then Penn State. And, their lives were in front of them. What was he going to do without football? That was the thing. It wasn't going to happen with football. So, just a brutal thing to hear, and very sad. I texted all my Ohio State friends, and I had nothing but Ohio State has nothing but respect for Julian Fleming.
Oh,
they're just like, he just came into an absolutely stacked wide receiver room.
Yeah.
But they did tell me they were always like, they told me this before, obviously, but like last year they were telling me, they were like Marvin Harrison and all these guys making these long runs. And I've always said this. You don't have guys blocking downfield. You're not getting those 50-yard, 60-yard touchdown runs. Like we're talking about Saquon a minute ago. And they're showing highlights of him up there, and he's making these long runs, but every time you see a long run, you see your wide receiver downfield making those blocks. And that's what Julian Fleming was so much for Ohio State and so much with Penn State last year. And everybody there liked him. I know that the people on the team liked him. He's a good kid. That's all the information we have, so I have no idea anything else.
Yeah, just, again, hearts go out to everybody involved with that particular situation.
But supposedly the deer striking ATVs is sort of not an uncommon thing. Like, that's a real issue.
Oh, yeah. Wow. It's, any vehicle.
They're just running on the side.
deer.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the outdoors type, so running on a path back in the woods or on the highway, I don't know where they were. The deer hit you. It's like, what are the chances? But they say it happens a lot more than you think.
Deer in vehicles of any kind.
Yeah.
A lot of more on Thursday about this, but the Coaches versus Cancer event, the kickoff reception will be Thursday night over at Midler Field at Lorano Park, and then the tournament, golf tournament on Friday. It really is amazing to see the way this community comes together, supports this event, and the breathtaking amount of money that has been raised now over the years. Hopefully we get some good weather. Looks like Friday should be better than, let's say like tomorrow anyway.
I heard high of 70 Saturday. I said that's perfect golf weather.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed that we get better weather than certainly what we're expected to have tomorrow for the event this weekend. But again, we'll talk more about that on Thursday. And, we'll get into some other things regarding college athletics on Thursday's show as well. Again, stay tuned here. We will have State College softball coming up in the PIAA sub-regionals as State High takes on McDowell. That'll be followed by the Bellefonte-Carrick game in the Quad A sub-regionals as well. And we will talk to you again on Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe.
May means warmer weather, the official start of the summer season, and the month that we want to see ya in a Kia more than ever at Lion Country Kia.
Wanna see ya in a Kia.
Hurry into Lion Country Kia now and choose from 79 new Kias on the lot. Just in time for family vacations, check out the refreshed 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. Its new SUV-inspired styling, seats up to 8. Lion Country Kia has the 2025 Carnival and Carnival Hybrid with interest rates as low as 3.9% for 48 months through Kia Motor Finance. There's 4 gas models available and 8 hybrids available with up to a 33 combined MPG. Be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too at Lion Country Kia. And remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Make May the month that we see ya in a Kia. From Lion Country Kia, 1334 Dravilla Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter. and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State